All right, so for this video, we're going to prepare to create our electrical plan. So to do that, we need an electrical plan, we need the electrical sheet, and then we can start setting the view up so that it shows what we want it to show. So I have showed you before how to create new sheets and new views, and I think by now you should know how to do that from scratch. But to save us some time, I'm going to show you a faster way to set up your sheet. So if you just go to a sheet that you like, that kind of has a view already that you want to use for your electrical plan. So in this case, I'm looking at the main floor furnishings plan. I like how the walls are set up because for an electrical plan, you don't need like detailed walls. And I think this view is generally, with a couple modifications, I could use this view. And then we've already got the sheet set up. So let's just, if you go over to the browser and right click on the furnishings plan sheet, there's a little command called duplicate sheet. And we're going to choose, we don't want to duplicate an empty sheet. We want to duplicate the sheet with its views. So we'll click that button. And then it's going to ask us what else we want to do. And let's just duplicate the view. Let's choose the top one. And do you see how it created a new sheet, and then it tells you what views it put on the sheet? It's expanded down. So now we have a copy of our furnishings plan. And if you look over here, you can see it says copy of plan. So let's rename that. Oops, rename. And we'll do main floor electrical plan. And then we also need to come on here. Remember, for some reason in the template, they unlinked the view name with the name that shows on the sheet. So we need to come in here and we need to do main floor electrical plan. Then the other thing we need to do is make sure the title block is filled out. And again, main floor electrical plan here. So, and then we don't want ID 101. We'll do electrical sheets should have their own letter in front of it, so we'll call it E100. And then you'll see it moves the sheet over here. It's after the A's, but before the IDs, which is actually probably the appropriate place for it. So, okay, so the rest of our title block is filled out. Our view is nice on the sheet. It's titled. We're good to go, other than we don't need the finish schedule anymore. So you'll notice when it copied the floor plan view, it made an extra copy up here. If you look up here in your floor plan views, you'll see there's a main floor electrical plan. So it actually copied your main floor plan because views can only be on one sheet at a time. So it couldn't just put the view in two places at once. It had to duplicate the view and put it on the sheet. But schedules you can put on multiple sheets. So it didn't copy your schedule. If you go to the schedule and you open them up, oops, sorry. There we go, schedules right here. You can see, where is our, okay. So this is our finish schedule. There's no duplicates. Likewise, down here, it doesn't say finish schedule copy like it did the floor. It just placed it in two spots. So it's on our finished plan, our furnishing plan, and it's on this sheet. So we're just going to delete it off this sheet. So select it and hit delete. And now the only thing on here is our main floor. So that's looking pretty good. So now all we need to do is concentrate on getting our view to look right and get it set up so that we can start putting in our lights and our electrical outlets and our switches. So let's double click in the view to activate it. And let's think about what we want to show. The floor patterns probably aren't necessary in an electrical plan. They were useful for the furnishings plan, but an electrical plan, I think they're just a distraction. So we should probably get rid of the floor patterns. I think the furniture, it's kind of 50-50 with me. When you're placing your lights and stuff, it's nice to see furniture, because if I want to put pendants on either side of the bed, it's nice to see where the bed is. If I want to center the chandelier above the dining room table, it's nice to see where the furniture is. But then after you place it, I don't know if it's real important to see the furniture. So sometimes I'll leave the furniture on and place all my lights and then turn the furniture off. Or I'll keep the furniture on, but then I half tone it so that it's not the main event, because it isn't the main event. Our cabinets, we probably don't need to see them as well. Maybe, okay, so actually for the island, again, maybe it's nice to show the island so that you can put pendants. And sometimes you like to put a can above the sink, so maybe it's good to show that. So with that in mind, let's go into the visibility graphics dialog box. Let's address the floors first. So if we go to F for floors, I'm going to override the projection pattern. And let's just turn those off and click OK and hit apply. And now our floor patterns go away. That's good. I think it's less distracting that way. Then let's go to the cabinets, which would be called casework. And let's just halftone them. So if we go over and click the halftone button and click apply, now all the cabinets are half-toned. We also want to do that with the furniture. So let's click there and do halftone and click apply. And you see it did it with all the furniture. Now I think we should do that with the doors. So I'm going to click halftone the doors. And then you can see the plumbing fixtures are still showing. So let's do that to plumbing. Plumbing fixtures, let's halftone those, click apply. Now we're looking pretty good. The only thing that's still kind of bright black is the appliances. Now appliances there's not a category called appliances. So what you have to do is get out of the dialog box and click on one of the appliances. And when you click, it tells you what category it is over here in the type properties. Right under here, it says it's specialty equipment. Let's look at the range as well. It also is specialty equipment. So we just need to go into the visibility graphics settings and we'll go to specialty equipment right here and we'll halftone that. There we go. Now we've got a really good, nice, clean canvas. Okay, so the other thing we might want to do to this view is it would be nice to be able to see the soffits outside of the building if you put soffits in. I took the time to put in soffits. So if you want to do that, you can do that as well. It's a little tricky, so I don't expect you to do this. If you want to do it, you can. If you don't want to do it, that's also fine. You basically put soffits in the same way you put in ceilings. The soffit command you can find it by going to roof, soffit, and then it'll put you into a sketch mode. It'll ask you where you want to host the soffit, so you can pick the roof level, and then you can start sketching. So I'm not going to do that right now. And then similar to the roofs, you can add slopes to the edges, but soffits are different in that a roof, you could add slopes to all of the sketch lines. In a soffit, you can only add slope to one side. So you have to break. So if you were doing underneath this eave here, you have to see, you see these are two different soffits because you could only slope a soffit one direction. So you do one and then you mirror it over for the second. Anyways, if you have soffits, that's okay. If you don't, no problem. Let's go back to our electrical plan. I want to show my soffits because often I like to put can lights out in the soffit to light up the front of the house. The other thing, if you watched the extra credit, we put a tray ceiling in the bedroom, and it would be nice to see where that tray is. So I'm going to show you how to show the ceiling as a background so that you can see the soffit and you can see the ceiling in case you need to reference it. It's not required, but it's useful. And actually, I should back up. It is required because you also won't be able to see your light fixtures if you don't show the ceiling. So you do need to show the ceiling, whether you have soffits or not, whether you have special things in your ceiling. It's just if you haven't put anything special in your ceiling, like a tray ceiling, and you haven't done soffits, when you go to do this step, it's not going to look like much has changed. But you do need to do it because you won't be able to see your light fixtures otherwise. So let's set that up correctly. So you're in your view, make sure your view's active, and then you come over here, and do you remember we talked about underlays before? We're going to put an underlay here, and normally we picked like something above or below our floor to underlay, but this time we're going to pick the same floor that we're actually already on. So we'll go to main floor, and then you want to tell it to, on the underlay orientation, it might be for you, it might default looking down at the floor plan. And you don't want that. You want it to look up. So it's going to put a background as if you're looking up on the view that you're already on. So if you go over here, now you can see it's showing my soffits. This line here, that is my fascia. It's also showing. And then you can see in the bedroom, it shows my tray ceiling. Okay, so this made the view a little bit more messy, so let's clean that up a little bit. I'm going to go into the visibility graphics, and I don't want to see the fascia at all. So I'm going to go to roof, because fascia is a subcategory of roofs. So I'm going to click the little plus sign, and I'm going to unclick fascia, and I'm going to click apply, and you'll see how that dark line went away. Then while I'm here, you may or may not have your soffits, but if you do have soffits, I'm going to change the line. I don't want it to be a solid line. I'm going to change the pattern to be a 1/16 inch dash and click OK and hit apply. And now do you see how all my soffits go to a dashed line? I'm going to do that same thing with the ceiling. I'm going to go override the line. I'm going to pick 1/16 inch dash and click OK and apply. So now my floor plan looks like this. So now I can see my ceiling, I can see my soffits, and they don't look like solid lines. That way I know that it's meant to tell me what's above. If you leave them solid, it tends to be confusing. Someone might look at this and think, oh, what's on the floor? But dotted lines typically mean it's something that's hidden, that's outside of the view that you're not supposed to see, and you're just referencing in this view. So that's why we use the dotted lines. All right, with that, you're ready to start doing, start putting in all your electrical items. So we'll cover that in the next video.